He also said that witchcraft and Wiccan were formed.
I had already played it, started it. Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Israel Wake Up. This is our Sabbath evening Sabbath class. This is 20th of February, 2021. I'm asking everybody to like and share and subscribe and hit the notification button, please. We're gonna pick back up from this morning with understanding the Old Testament, part 2. But in the meantime, we're gonna do our moment of silence in regards to Yahweh and His Redeemer and all that they're doing to bring about Israel's deliverance from the land of their oppressors. We're gonna go into a prayer and then according to current events. Okay. Okay. Just, oh Lord, we come this day praising Thee, worshiping Thee for Thy might and Thy power and Thy great understanding. Oh Lord, the end times that You have foretold unto our forefathers are upon us. Oh Lord, give us strength and wisdom to endure all that Thou hast foretold. Give us, oh Lord, the knowledge to rightly divide Thy words, that they are delivered unto us in righteousness and truth. There is great confusion among Your inheritance, O Lord, now that You are awakening them. For I know, O Lord, that Your hand is sure and that Your hand is firm. O Lord, we need You so very much in this latter days. We will tarry and depend upon You, O Lord, because there is none else besides You, O Lord. You are our deliverer and our redeemer. Peace be unto You. Okay. We're going to read the Psalms, then we're going to some current events. Yeah, I'm gonna read Psalms 129 and Psalms 130 because they both short. So 129 says, "The Lord has preserved Israel. Many times have they afflicted me from my youth. May Israel now say, many times have they afflicted me from my youth, yet they have not prevailed against me. The plow was plowed upon my back. They made long their furrows. The Lord is righteous. He hath cut asunder the cords of the wicked. Let them all be confounded and turn back that hate Zion. Let them be as the grass upon the housetops, which wither afore it groweth up, wherewith the mowers filleth not his hand, nor he that bindeth sheaves his bosom. Neither do they which go by. The blessings of the Lord be upon you. We bless You in the name of the Lord." That was Psalms 129, and the title was "The Lord Has Preserved Israel." I'm gonna read Psalms 130, and the title is "My Soul Waited for the Lord. Out of the depths have I cried unto Thee, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let Thine ears be attentive to the voice of my supplications. If Thou, Lord, should have marked iniquities, O Lord, who shall stand? But there is forgiveness with Thee, that Thou mayest be feared. I wait for the Lord. My soul doeth wait, and in His words do I hope. My soul waited for the Lord, more than they that watch for the morning. I say, more than they that watch for the morning. Let Israel hope in the Lord, for with the Lord there is mercy, and with him plenteous redemption, and he shall redeem Israel from all his iniquities. That was Psalms 130, and the title was My Soul Waited for the Lord. Okay, so anybody got any current events they want to share with us? Okay, no
Shalom,
current events.
shalom.
Okay,
Just in keeping with them putting emphasis on black people and all of that, they have their first black sheriff in Wyoming.
okay,
And what I have seen is as they bring all of these black people on the scene, they're just the face of something, to satisfy this whole racial thing that they have going on. But behind the scenes, it's of course everything is being orchestrated by the powers that be.
right,
So it's like across the board, you know, they're putting, black faces in the forefront. But it
okay,
doesn't mean anything. And that, yeah, it doesn't mean anything of any significance.
yeah, just like Camilla Harris.
Exactly.
Right, and then some.
That's something. I also want to say this is not current events, but it is an event. Um, I just want to let everybody know Leonard's birthday is coming up on the 27th. Hallelujah.
Saturday. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. So right in accordance with what you were just saying about black folks, I'm gonna play this right here. I think it's Dr. Umar talking. And we just doing the audio part of it.
You feel is the main divide between that conversation that's being had now between the ADOS community and the African immigrants, as I'll call them?
Well,
Studying that.
first of all, of the 50 million Africans in America, only about 3 million are African immigrants. America is not in love with African people. And most of those African immigrants are here on an education visa or an employment visa or a visitation visa. It is very difficult to get your American citizenship as an African in America. That's why you only have 3 million. Africa is a continent of over 1 billion people, and you only have 3 million. So clearly, America is not in love with the African immigrant. The problem that I take with these organizations is that they are playing upon the intergenerational self-hatred that we have had being African as long as we've been in America. If you want to find fault with another group who you feel has undermined Black progress in America, why haven't you named the feminist movement? Why haven't you named the LGBTQ? Why haven't you named the non-African immigrants? You haven't spoken about the Italians. You haven't spoken about the European Jews. You haven't spoken about the Irish. They have taken more from Black progress over the past 100 years than the African immigrant. The LGBTQ has taken more from Black progress than the African immigrant. The white woman and every other woman has taken more from Black progress than the African immigrant. To me, it is very cowardly to claim the lowest man on the totem pole because you're too afraid to go after the real groups who are responsible for undermining Black progress. And putting that to the side is harmful because we are at a time right now with the quadricentennial that occurred 2 years ago, 1619 to 2019. It represented a time where Africans around the world are beginning to come together. The president of Ghana declared 2019 a year of return. You had other African heads of state saying we want our kith and kin in the diaspora to come home. You had Jamaica and other islands reaching out to the American African. So at a time with the vision of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garden, and the vision of Kwame Nkrumah, and the vision of El Hajj Malik El Shabazz and all the great Pan-Africanists is finally being realized, you get these YouTubian opportunists. These YouTubian opportunists who wake up, come out of nowhere, having no history of grassroots struggle. Let me say that again. The founders of these movements have no history of grassroots struggle. They are YouTubian opportunists trying to drive a wedge between Africans in the East and Africans in the West. And the reason is so ridiculous. And that is so we can more effectively beg for reparation crumbs from our slave master. Show me why it is scientifically necessary for you to disidentify from being an African so you can beg for crumbs from your slave master. It makes no sense. So you will call yourself a slave, but you won't call yourself an African. You will call yourself an American, but you won't call yourself an African. One group calls themselves slaves. The other group call themselves American. Neither one of them really wants to be black.
Okay, you get into it. So just so for healing purposes, what would be your message to the ADOS community?
I don't have a message, and I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why though. That man whose picture hangs behind me,
Marcus Garvey,
the Honorable Marcus Garvey.
Yes, sir.
His example will stand the test of time. So I don't spend a lot of time on ADOS. I don't spend a lot of time on FBA because I know the reason why they exist.
Yeah.
And I know who brought them forward. And I know how serious the people are who brought them forward. I know they're just temporary opportunist schemes. So I'm not concerned about that. 100 years from now, that flag will still be flying, the red, black, and green. Not the ones these opportunists are making up. So I don't give them a lot of attention because I have so much faith in our people to raise their consciousness to the point where they can understand, understand, and overstand what they're really supposed to be about. And that is about revolutionary Pan-African nationalism. It is all of us or none of us. We rise together or we don't rise at all. It is all for one and one for all. It is Garveyism or get the hell away from it.
Wow, powerful, Dr. Umar, powerful. Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit because I know this is an important question. A lot of people in Louisville want to know from you, and this is something that's very important to them as well. I know you haven't been here in 6 years, and of course, a lot has changed in Louisville, Kentucky in 6 years, especially the unrest that we saw in 2020 as it relates to the Breonna Taylor situation. As you were on the outside looking in, how did you feel about that situation, knowing that you had been to this community, you know people in this community, and you know the needs of this community? How did you feel looking at us going through that unrest, that civil unrest last summer?
Okay. And I'm going to respond to that question with a slightly broader angle.
Okay.
In that, when we look at the protests, which I refer to as the 2020 protests for justice, that was triggered by the murders of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Ahmaud Arbery, I was disgusted because this was the most significant, comprehensive, protracted Black protest since the Dr. King assassination protest of '68. Black people had not protested that long, that qualitatively, for that amount of time since the Dr. King assassination protests. We wasted an opportunity to force the Black agenda on the American table for public discussion. We made 3 mistakes with the 2020 protests for justice. Mistake number 1, we had no clearly articulated list of demands. We were protesting without telling the government what it was we wanted specifically. Are you following me there? So we're marching, but what are you marching for? What specifically? We understand you reacting to the murder, as you should. But after you react, we now have to create some political structure and agenda. That never happened. In other words, we never say all the police in the Black community need to look like the Black community. We never said the unjustified murder of an unarmed African should automatically be considered a hate crime. We never said that whenever you murder a Black person unjustifiably, you are automatically charged and must be proven in a court of law that you are innocent and will never again be allowed to police in the Black community the rest of your life. We never put no demands. We didn't talk about miseducation. We didn't talk about gentrification. We didn't talk about police genocide. We didn't talk about access to wealth. We didn't talk about massive, the issues that matter to Black America, which largely ignored during the time that we protested. So that's number one. You had no plan. Number two, you had no identified spokespersons. You didn't necessarily need to have an identified leader because they would either kill him or co-opt him or her. But you needed spokespersons to articulate the agenda. And as a result of us not having those spokespersons, guess what happened? The Democratic Party swooped in and exploited the 2020 protests for justice into a Joe Biden voters drive. They turned the whole thing into, we got to get rid of Trump and we got to put Biden in office, although Biden's record in office is no better than Trump's was.
Exactly.
The Democratic Party exploit your pain so they can get people elected. So number one, no plan. Number two, no spokespersons. And number three, and probably the most significant of the three, we allow non-Africans to invade and to ultimately co-opt the protests themselves. There was one research statistic that I read which stated that only 1 out of every 6 protesters were Black. Only 1 out of every 6 protesters were Black. How do you let non-Africans invade your protest? And so when the protest was over, what did Donald Trump sign into law? The Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. The outcome of the protest was the Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. The outcome of the protest was presidential candidate, now President Joe Biden, saying we can have a conversation about reparations, but we have to include the Native Americans.
And
what else out of the protest? The Supreme Court had made a decision on LGBT rights as they relate to the 1964 Civil Rights Bill. So everybody got something.
Okay, any comments on that? We halfway through.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand down because I think what I said earlier. You know, we have to be more concerned with correction than change, because change is nothing more than pouring the coffee out of a white cup into a black cup, but the ones who make the coffee are still white. You with me?
Right.
And I'm gonna have to agree with what he said. We got, I mean, everybody else got something. We didn't get anything. But
right.
You know, yeah. So it's like them folks come join our demonstration. Obviously, somebody invited them or welcomed them.
Right.
And they probably shouldn't have. They probably said, "Oh no, not this one. You come to the next one or something." I don't know, throw them off some kind of way.
Yeah, they pros at that. That's what I'm saying. They've been cyborging us. When it comes to every time we come to a head to where we totally tired of something, and we started making protests or making demands, they always come and do come with some old Negro out the blue nobody don't know, and he psyop the whole thing.
Right, and his articulation of the protest turning into get rid of Trump and vote for Joe Biden, that's exactly what happened. Even though, you know, I did not see it clearly that way, that's exactly what happened.
Right. Yeah, then make you wonder, did they set that all up to do that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play to the second half.
Except Black people, and it was our fault, because one of the eternal mistakes that we made, that the most honorable Marcus Garvey has tried to teach us about 100 years ago, and that is the essential need to struggle alone, to fight alone, to stand alone. Whatever is to be done for Black people must be done by Black people. But because of our self-hatred, and because of our low African self-esteem, because of our need to be accepted by our oppressor, we don't want to do anything by ourselves. We want to hold hands with everybody, even though they don't want to hold hands with us.
Now, excuse me if I'm being sensitive because I'm from Louisville, all right? But I agree with you on the last 2 points. Number one, where we had no clear demands, we did have those demands. Those demands just were not met. But we can speak about that a little bit more when you get in town and have a conversation with the people in the community. But we did have those demands that were not met. But I agree. I think the fact that we had no clear leader, I agree that hurt us. And I agree that we allowed 9 African people to invade the movement because we never had numbers when it came to our people. No, we never had that. So I agree with you on those 2 points, definitely.
And here's what we gotta understand real quickly.
Okay.
White people outnumber black people in America 1 to 6.
For sure.
1 to 6. So if you allow them into your struggle and you don't control how many of them participate, they automatically co-opted just by virtue of the strength of their numbers. And that's why we have to learn how to fight alone. Also, when you look at our history with coalitions with other races, they always get more out of the coalition than we do. There's a rule of political organization. It's a rule that I came up with, but I'm sure some of our ancestors spoke to it. Disorganized groups have no business forming alliances with more organized groups. Are you following me?
Yes.
If you are disorganized, you have no business seeking a coalition with a more organized group because they will exploit you by virtue of your disorganization. Get organized first before you ever seek a coalition with a non-African entity.
Wow, get organized. Now that's some organizing for you. I love that. Once again, people, welcome to the Real Talk with T. May. We are here with Pan-Africanist. We call him the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson. He will be here February 24th, right?
Yes, sir. Rooftop Grill.
Rooftop Grill.
414 Oak Street.
14 Oak Street.
414.
414 Oak Street. And
that's
we're doing a book signing as well, right?
Well, it's going to be a book signing only. It won't be a lecture because of the COVID.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm going to have to come back once.
Yeah, you got to come back, brother.
I'm going to definitely come back.
On point. You got to
definitely come back because
okay, you got a little bit more time? I got a couple more. Sure. Okay, so I want to speak to you about, the election. In particular, I want to speak to you about Kamala Harris being the first woman of color elected as vice president, and how should Black people respond, or should they be responding to that? Should that be inspiration for us? And we understand that she's not foundational Black. We understand that, but she is a person of color. So in your opinion, how should Black people be responding to that?
Okay. Well, first of all,
I
don't deal in foundational Black. I deal in
Okay. Right. I'm just trying to be politically correct. I
understand.
You get me?
To me, it's Africans versus everybody. I don't get into the tribalism and all these little schisms that these YouTube opportunists have come up with.
Gotcha.
Here's the issue. For me, I judge all Africans by 2 criteria. Number one, and this is criteria to be an African. You must be biologically a member of the family, and you must psychologically pledge allegiance to that family. We know Kamala Harris is biologically African, okay? Whether that's through 1 parent or 2 parents, she's biologically African. She has the DNA of the continent in her. But I see very little proof of her being psychologically African, which is to say that she is unapologetically African in her declaration of her Africanity. It was brought out that she was sworn into the Senate as an East Indian. You understand? Yeah. So if you were sworn into the Senate as an East Indian, now you want to be African American for purposes of garnering the Black vote for the Democratic Party. That sounds like you're only being Black as an opportunity to capitalize on Black people's thirstiness to see somebody who looks like them in the White House. I don't see proof of her being psychologically African, that is identifying with us in our struggle. That's what matters most for me. I give you another example, not to get off topic.
That's right.
And Daniel Kikuya.
Daniel Cameron.
No. I'm speaking of the actor who's playing Fred Hampton in the upcoming.
Oh yeah, Daniel Cool. Yeah, Daniel
exactly.
Cool. Yeah.
It's the same thing with him. I don't know much about the brother, so I cannot judge him. But I would want to know, what is his position on Pan-Africanism? And does he as his brothers or sisters, or are you another tribalist from the UK who comes over here identifying as a Black British?
That's right.
Different from you and I. Because if he sees himself as different from you and I, then you have no business playing for him.
That's right.
It's just like the sister who played Harriet Tubman. A lot of people took an issue with that. They said she's not ADOS and she's not this and that. And I said, well, those are not my definitions. I don't use that. I'm a Pan-Africanist, so it's one family. I don't do tribalism. I don't do African tribalism. I'm not going to do African-American tribalism. She's an African biologically.
Gotcha.
Now, psychologically, does she identify with the race? In other words, I didn't have an issue with her playing Harriet Tubman. I don't have an issue with Daniel playing Fred if they see themselves as Harriet Tubman and Fred Hampton. If they see themselves as being kin with other American Africans. But if they endorse tribalism, if they have their own version of ADOS in the UK, then they have no business playing our ancestors. It's no different than if Dr. Umar goes to Africa and I play Nelson Mandela or Robert Sobukwe or Kwame Nkrumah or Patricia Lumumba or Sekou Touré or Julius Nyerere or Didi Kamathi or I see myself as an African.
Yeah.
So I can play that because that's family. But if I go to Africa saying I'm an African American, I'm not African, I left nothing in Africa, DOS, and all this other nonsense, I have no business playing ancestors from the continent.
Right.
So I like to find out for our psychology. Because being biologically Black, that's not enough. You have to be psychologically Black. And that's not just
I love it.
That's for home American Africans too.
Yeah.
Clarence Thomas is a home.
Okay.
Shalom, shalom. Thinking like a Hebrew. That's what I was thinking about when he was speaking. You know, we can identify and say, oh, I'm Hebrew. But how do you think? What psychologically, who are you?
Right. That's been the problem all along. They got people up there that's representing us, but they're not representing us.
Yeah, and I would like to say that no, Camilla Harris does not identify with us. She's doing what the Boule told her to do. She don't have a choice.
Right. It's a setup. It's a scheme. You got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, most of these Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, I think they're both Freemasons too. I think they're just like they're supposed to they put like agendas on them to push to the Black people. Like most of these famous Black people, like they just like push agendas on them so they can get so they seem spiritual, or they seem like they know what they're talking about, but deep down they're doing like something for the government or something like that.
Right, exactly. They on the cover they made an agreement with them. They was fraternity members too.
Now,
exactly.
Quick question. Now, Kamala Harris' father isn't all Jamaican. He's mixed with something else, isn't he?
Yeah. Exactly.
And it was his father. The father that's something else, not the mother. Which was
the mother from India.
Oh, his mother is from India.
No, his wife, Camilla's mother, is from India.
No. I'm talking about her father, because you said that we know the seed comes from the father, so he's mixed with something. He's not, because the mother look more Black than he does to me.
Right. Yeah, he's African. He got African in him. I don't know if his mother was African or his dad. I think his daddy was African.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks.
It's of our forebears who survived the Ma'afa who don't identify with the people. It's about identifying with the people. That's what's most important.
Can that identity for Kamala reach into her HBCU, AKA ties? Could it reach into that,
Fraternity.
Dr. Umar?
It has to be greater than that, because when she was a child, by virtue of socialization and the need to fit in and to survive her college years as an HBCU student, she would have naturally acted black, played black, joined the black sorority. It's no different than a white kid going to an HBCU. They're going to go to the dances. They're going to join the band. They're going to join the fraternity and the sorority. That don't make you psychologically African. That is just a stage in your identity development. That's all it was. It's no different than the white kid who listens to gangster rap and wears all the black popular clothing and plays basketball and dates the white girls as a teenager. Dates the black girls as a teenager. Then you run into him 15 years later. Now he's 40 years old and he's the district attorney locking up every black man he can find in Louisville. You see the difference?
Yeah.
A stage in identity development should not be confused with one's permanent political frame of reference.
Okay. You did something? Any comments before we move forward? Okay. Yeah, I was talking about we did a little a lesson class on Liberia last week, and I was and then we've been talking about how we're gonna get delivered from here, and then they taking us to West Africa, associating that with Jeremiah 29 and 14. He said he's gonna return us back to the place where we was carried away from, and that's the West Coast of Africa. So I wanted to show you this little clip. I had heard it before, but I couldn't remember where I seen it at. So I'm gonna play this right here, and then it's like a witness. Okay. And this also I was talking about this morning in the Sabbath class too, about they got the thing from the Wakanda One and all that stuff, the villages from these people right here. This guy right here breaking it down. Let me open it up. Okay, here you go.
The project, which I ultimately described, grew out of a personal effort.
So he's from the community, the
personal effort that was inspired in Negroes in the diaspora and then affected in Africa. I'm going to be giving you several new concepts today, so go with me, all right? First of all, the African Hebrew Development Agency, NGO, grew out of the African Hebrew Israelite community, a community of Africans from the diaspora who returned to.
That's the Lamona group. When I watched the route they took when they left America,
homeland Israel, to establish new communities. All right. In 1967, this diaspora community left the United States, went into Liberia, left West Africa for 2 years, and then in 1969 began the process of immigrating into Israel for the development of these new communities, the paradigm of development. Since 1969, I won't get into all the political dynamics of Israel. We'll discuss that at another time because that's another topic, all the things that we have to go through in that process, which are still in many ways ongoing. But the intention was to, as I said, to establish these communities which reflect the application of correct development processes to cause the people and the environment to synergize and take the applicable laws of the Creator and make them practical and applicable in the lives of men.
Right. So what I was showing you was they left in 1967 and they went to Liberia. They stayed 2 years in Liberia. Then from Liberia they went to land of Canaan. Okay. Got another one to play. We're going somewhere. Okay.
If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to give you guys my experience about going to Liberia. So as you guys know, I'm Liberian, and I haven't been to Liberia since I was 5 years old. But I actually went back just to see my mom, because I haven't seen my mom since I was 5 years old. I came to the United States because of the war. So I made a decision for myself. I was like, okay, I have to go see my mom. I have to go see. I wanted to, but I wanted to know when, right? Because as you guys see, a lot of you guys who are American Liberians, or you're all over wherever you're at in the world, and you're trying to go back to see where you're from. It's kind of hard because we hear these stories like, oh, if you go back to Africa, you're gonna get killed or something like that's gonna happen to you. But that's not really the truth. I actually had a great experience in Liberia. People think because Liberia is one of the it's the second poorest country in the world, but Liberia is really amazing. I'll give you guys my story when I got there. So first, when I got there, I flew with Brussels. I flew with Brussels Airline. I went with United. I flew with Brussels Airlines. Then after I got to the airport there was welcoming. People was welcoming. It was like, oh, America, they really love people that come from America in Liberia. So when you're coming there, it's people gonna love you even more, because they the typical Liberian in Liberia, their goal and their dream is to travel, because they put a lot of limitations on those people. They can't travel, they can't go nowhere, they can't really go to the United States unless somebody marry them, or somebody send for them through their family. And a lot of people don't have families like that can just send for them, or they don't have connections to be able to. They don't have no relationship in the United States because they've never been there, right? So it's when you go there, those people really look up to you. They cherish you because.
So you see what they're doing. They choking down the migration. They're choking down the desires that the people have to come together and reunite. And they behind the scenes choking that down.
America to them is like heaven, right? So they cherish you and stuff like that. So when I first got there, I got to the airport, it was amazing. I got to the airport, then after I stayed at this hotel called Mama Point Hotel. I stayed there for 1 month at the hotel before I actually started learning about the place. So the hotel was kind of it cost a lot, but when I started learning about how much people make in the country and how I can get a cheaper stay, so I started researching. I was like, whoa, people only make $100 a month in this country. People only make $200 a month. So it's not funny, but it was like, damn, that's crazy. People only make this amount of money in this country. What's going on? Why are people getting paid only this? This is pocket change. People should be getting paid more, right? But that's their labor law. So back to what I was saying. I was staying at Mama Point Hotel. It was a great experience. I stayed there. I had fun. I met a lot of people. People showed me a lot. They showed me around, like that, right? And after staying there, I was coming back to the United States. So I actually my mom came to my hotel too, and she stayed with me for the whole month. And we actually hung out. We got to know each other because I haven't seen her since I was 5 years old. So she came to the hotel. We hung out. I got to know her better. So, and I'm sending for her to the United States to get her own home so she can experience a lifestyle in the United States. And I actually have a little sister who's coming too as well. So back to what I was saying. Me and my mom, we hung out. They showed me Miami Beach in Liberia. There's Miami in America. So they have this thing in Liberia. It's called Miami Beach. So Liberia is really, really awesome. So I was there, had a great experience with my mom. My mom showed me a lot of different places and stuff like that. I took them to this place called Labasa Beach. It's by Marshall. It's we drove all the way there. My mom was staying in Morovia, so we drove all the way there to Labasa Beach. Then once we got there, we swam, we had fun, we was on the beach, we had a great time. Then what happened was that I was supposed to come back to the United States. So during the coronavirus, so it's still coronavirus, but during the coronavirus in Liberia, I got stuck there, right? I got stuck there, and I went with my dad too. So my dad, he got stuck there as well. So we both got stuck there for a month. I think he's still there. He's soon be coming back soon. But I got stuck there for a month. So after getting stuck there for a month, stuff started getting more expensive, right? So I was like, okay, how much do you guys pay for rent here? Because I was staying at the hotel paying like $300 a day. So I was like, okay, I need to get if I'm gonna be here for another month, I need to get like an Airbnb, like get a house or something that I can stay instead of me spending all this money on a hotel fee. Because I didn't know when I was coming back to the
Okay. I got one more thing to show you, then we're gonna go into this, go into the lesson. Let me get this. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Okay, I was telling you about the maps that we was looking at on from the show this morning, and this is the map that I had looked at. I thought it was on that other show, but I want to show you something because, like I said, these people they're full of lies. Yeah, so here go the map right here. See that? What it say? See this continent of Africa right here. This is the continent of Africa. Look at that. That's Judah right there. That's the according to what these people saying right here. This the landmass right here where the tribe of Judah was existing at. That's it right here. See where they got it in Africa. See that? That's what I was talking about this morning. See that? Yahudah. This actual. This not from when they migrated from 143 BC. This actually part of the landmass that's in the Genesis that the Most High gave. This including what they read with Shem, the landmass that Shem was given right after the flood, and this part of it. It's almost all that. So now, so we're looking at this map. It's telling you that when Antioch Epiphanes came, they left from here and fled over here.
Okay.
Over here, this area. But this the actual land right here that was given to them by the Lord of hosts. See it down here? So what they're saying is all the time, all along, Judah was up in Africa. See that? Something to think about. Okay. Let me get out of this. Okay. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you that. So what I'm gonna do is I got a couple of things I'm gonna comment on about when we pick up what we was at this morning about the Old Testament. First of all, they were saying how I was listening to more people talking earlier today, and they was talking about how that they said that in Genesis chapter 1, it says, this I hope this helps somebody that just coming into this. It says Genesis chapter 1, 1:26 says, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Right? Then 27, and God created man in his own image. In the image God created he him, male and female created he them. So the conclusion that they came to was that if God created them in their image and he created a man and a woman, then the image of God's got to be a man and a woman. That's what they were saying. So they left out on one thing. Let's go look at it. I'm in Ezekiel. Like I said, we ain't gonna be on it long, probably right at an hour. So I'm in Ezekiel chapter 1. Keep in mind what I just read. So let's say right here, Ezekiel chapter 1, starting at verse 25, Ezekiel 1:25, and there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads when they stood and had let down their wings, and above the firmament that was over their heads, was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was a likeness and appearance of a man over above it. And I saw as they were the color of amber, and the appearance of the fire round about it, and from his appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward, I saw as they were the appearance of fire, and it had appearance of brightness round about it. So my question to the people out there in YouTube land and on the line, who is that?
Sound like that's the Most High.
The Most High.
Okay, so is it a woman with him on the sapphire stone?
Don't sound like it.
Okay, so when you go back over there, you see how they off. So the image that he talking about, the likeness in the image of that he made them in, is his silhouette, his shape. It says the likeness and appearance of a man. So he's shaped like a man. That's the image. That's the image right there. It's not talking about the woman and the man got the image. Got arms, legs, and a feet, and a silhouette of a man, just like he do. He ain't talking about they are a man and a woman. He's the Most High is a man and a woman that made a man and a woman. That's not what he's saying. And then they went from there to right here. So this is the thing about having these classes and continue to talk about this stuff, and so you can get it down packed. So they went to Genesis chapter 5, and they say it right here, reading chapter 5. This is the book of the generation of Adam, 5:1. In the day that God created him, created man, right? In his likeness, God made he him, male and female. So it's got to be a male and a female up there that made this male and female, right? And created he them, blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day that when they were created. And they stop right there. They don't read the very next verse that's going to answer everything. The next verse says, and Adam lived 100. Just another Adam. If they had just read verse 3, it would have killed the little conversation they didn't concocted in their mind. He says, and Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his likeness, after his image, and called his name Self. So is it a woman with Adam? Is it a woman with Self? So Self is made by himself. He looked like Adam. Any comment?
Well, I'm a little bit confused with the whole thing, but when you look at the 8th day man, the woman was not there when the man was. Okay, so on the man and the woman that were created in 126,
right?
That was the creation where he said, "Let's make them in our image and in our likeness." But with the 8th day man, that phrase is not in there. So what? So I don't know. Is that significant or is that insignificant?
It counts out the understanding. But whatever they come up with in Genesis 1:26, when they says verse 1:26 of Genesis, God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, fowls of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." Then verse 27 says, "God created man in his image. In the image God created him, male and female."
Right.
So when you go to chapter 2, he created Adam by himself.
Right. And so I guess I must have missed. The reason why you're sharing this is somebody's trying to say that there's a woman in heaven. Is that?
No. It's what I'm showing. I'm showing them how to deal with the scriptures, because of first of all, they started out and they read Genesis 1:26, right? God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, over cattle, over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." Then 27. So God created man in his image. In the image God created him, male and female created he them. And they trying to get their They're trying to get their understanding just from reading 26 and 27. You can't come to your understanding just reading 26 and 27, because people on this line already know the same person that's on the sapphire stone ain't no woman with him. Ain't no woman with him on the man on the sapphire stone. That's who talking. And then we also know in chapter 2, he created a man, and that man don't have no woman. So if you're gonna come to a conclusion about 26 and 27, you gotta understand all the other stuff that's surrounding that. Hello?
Now,
you can't come to a conclusion and get no understanding of what's going on in 26 and 27 without understanding all the other stuff that come along with it. Then you make your summation after you get some more information about other things that's going on that's already been solidified and already been nailed down. So, like I was saying before, when you look at that, we know for a fact if you just go to chapter 2, it says in verse 5, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, every herb of the field before it grew, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. So we see right here, there's a whole nother man than the man over there in Genesis 1:26. So you can't come to no conclusion just reading 26 and 27 and then trying to figure out who this is in the first part of 26 when it says God said, "Let us make man in our image." Who is this? Who is this that talking saying, "Let us make man in our image"? You can't come to that conclusion who that is just reading 26 and 27. So, like I'm saying, everybody on this line knows in the beginning there was 7 angels there. But if you don't understand all that, you're gonna say you're gonna say that's Yahweh, and then you're gonna say because he said, "Let us make a man in our image, male and female." Now you're gonna put a woman there because it's a woman and a man that was created. But that's not the case. It's too many other variables included in that you have to understand to try to break that verse down. Ain't no way in the world you're gonna come to the proper understanding just picking up the Bible and start reading 26 and 27 and then come up with a conclusion. There's too many other variables included. Yeah. Any comment? Okay. Another one was riding upon the because first of all they keep saying the Most High is in the UFOs and all that, right? And we know he ain't because what I just read. But this thing I want to show you right here. I just read in Ezekiel chapter 1, 26, 27 that these 4 angels told this sapphire stone and the creator on top of that stone, right? So you get a confirmation on that. And then I was there this morning. I'm in 2 Samuel 23. 2 Samuel chapter 23.
2 Samuel?
Yeah, 23.
Okay.
22, I mean, my bad, 22. So based on what I just showed you, we saw that Ezekiel told us that he saw this cloud coming and it enfolded in itself, and then when he got there, it was 4 creatures toting the sapphire stone, and the creator was on top of the stone. So now David had a vision I showed you this morning, and I'm in verse 10. And so he didn't pass away, his soul and left his body, but these wicked spirits from these giants trying to hold him here, keep him from ascending to heaven where he came from. So he cried to the Lord in verse 8. Then it says in verse 8, 22 and 8, then the earth shook and trembled, and the foundation of the heavens moved and shook because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth, devouring coals were kindled. Now, look at this. He bowed the heavens. He bowed the heavens also, and he came down, and darkness was under his feet. It's the cloud. In case you're wondering, it's the same cloud, the darkness and the cloud enfolding itself that Ezekiel saw. Now, and he rolled upon a cherub. Ain't that what Ezekiel told us?
Right.
See that? He rolled upon a cherub and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. So this is second witness to what we found out what Ezekiel showed us. Inside this cloud, these four angels carrying him on top of sapphire stone. And David said right here, when he called him, when he got in distress, he came down from heaven. He riding in a thick cloud, and he cherubs. He riding on top of these cherubs. You look at it, and like I said before, you can't read a verse, two verses, and then come to your summation on just reading them two verses. It's all kind of other stuff coming on. It's all kind of stuff you have to know to start understand what's going on.
Right.
And so, like I said, you can't read. Just go to Genesis 1:26 and read 26-27 and then figure out how God look.
Right.
Who God is. You can't do that. It's too much other variables included.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So now about the woman in heaven, it says do women, so we don't know how long the Most High existed, him and these angels before they came to the earth and started and do anything on earth. So do these angels need to is these angels born of a woman? No. Is Yahweh born of a woman? No. And there's no need for a woman in heaven. That's right. See that? They eternal beings. Jubilees tell you that. They don't need no. So when did the woman come into play? When he came to the earth and made the human. Right. The human gotta be reproduced from umbilical cord to umbilical cord. The angels ain't born from no umbilical cord. That's right. So you off. You started trying to, now you're saying that they the same, they equal. They ain't equal because he created her to bring forth other men and other helpmeets, reproduce themselves. They made in the image of these angels, and the angels made in the image of the Creator that we saw on top of the sapphire stone. And Leonard, is the understanding that the woman was needed now that the Creator was bringing a race of people through an umbilical cord. So now the woman is needed to continue that creation that is procreated through. You know what I'm saying? They die. Humans die. That's why. Right. These angels, eternal beings, they don't have no mama. The Most High, he formed 7 of them, and the rest of them he created. You don't need no. They don't need no to be born. So there's no need for no woman in heaven. You gotta, I mean, come on. You can't come up with some old off the wall conclusion on that. When he came to the earth, and then he made humans, is when he saw that Adam needed a woman to reproduce himself. To help him reproduce himself. Right. Could you help me understand? I know you may not know what people are thinking who are on this bandwagon of trying to put a woman in heaven, but do you think that that's all stemming from this whole we equal and all this stuff? Right. Women's live. Okay. Women's live, all this stuff. Like I said, all these ideologies that we got, even birth control and going to what they call those clinics where you get abortion clinics. We wasn't doing that. That's right. So that goes back to Deuteronomy 28, the curses. We over here living. He said he's gonna put us amongst them, and then we're gonna pick up their lifestyle. That's part of the curses. Man, we wasn't doing that. We weren't trying to. The woman wasn't trying to usurp the man and all that. When they was over there in Israel, they had sins that they was dealing with. Idolatry and all that, but you don't see in that way they trying to usurp the man. All that came about when we came over here. Part of the curses. And they trying to apply all that to back then when that wasn't even going on. This all this stuff came about when we got over here. And it started happening. So, and that's what I mean, that's the reason why the Most High says, told Aaron, I got you only you dealing with me, and then I attach the Levites to you. Y'all the only ones dealing with me because this is what clowns come up with. All this kind of stuff right here with it. When you looking at it, it don't add up. It don't make no sense. So I was talking this morning about I was in Micah. I was showing you how when it said days are old. I'm gonna show you that. Yeah, we're gonna. Anybody got any questions about anything? We'll go. I'm in Micah. Right quick. Micah. Micah chapter 5. And so it says, in Micah chapter 5, it says, deliver us from Babylon, from Bethlehem. Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He have laid siege against us, and they shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. I told you that was David, right? And you might have got that, you might not. But verse 2 says, but thou, O Bethlehem Euphrates, that's what David from, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah. So when Samuel went there, he told him to take a sacrifice with you to throw Saul off. Because Saul, if you go there to see David, he gonna know why you're going there. He gonna kill you. Go and make him think you're going to make a sacrifice, and at the same time anoint David. So that was in Bethlehem Euphrates. So it says, now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. Ye have laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheeks. That's David, I told you that. But thou, O Bethlehem Euphrates, though thou be little among thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth. That's where David came from. He was in the house of Jesse, keeping sheep. That's where Samuel went and anointed him. So it says, but thou, O Bethlehem Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me to be ruler in Israel. Now watch this. Who's going forth have been from old. Period. They added the everlasting, trying to run you to JC. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, let's go to Amos chapter 9. Right quick. Amos 9. Amos 9 and verse 11. See that? So we talk about David again. He says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. I showed you that it had done that. And close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise him up, raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in what? The days are old. See that? Ain't no everlasting on the end of it. See that? So because they didn't put that for everlasting on there, we know we talking about David. David tabernacle was built long time ago. In the days of old, his tabernacle was built, and they covered it over. Hadrian and them backfilled. And now this prophecy been fulfilled. They done dug it up. All he have to do now is close up the breaches thereof and build it back like it was in the days of old when David was on the scene. So let's go back to Micah again, read it again. So I'm in Micah chapter 5, verse 1. Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. Ye have laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon his cheek. That's David. But thou, Bethlehem Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come. That's David. Or come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, who's going forth have been from old. Point, period. That you take the everlasting and throw it in the trash can. So we see that David. So that's what they mean in Psalms 89 when he said he turned the sword to the ground and made him where he don't stand in battle. They denigrated David just by putting that from everlasting on there. It didn't change the whole understanding of the verse. But if he had any sense, he'd have put from everlasting on the other verse too. He'd put it on Amos 9 and 11. If he really wanted to hoodwink you. But he didn't feel no need to do that because of he going to all these verses where David was at and turning the scripture to make it look like it's Jesus. So let me read something else out of there right quick. It says, verse 2, but thou, Bethlehem Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel. We're going to stop right there. So the person that's talking is the Lord of hosts. So you don't even have to go there. I'll go there right quick. I'm in 2 Samuel, chapter 7. Just keep in mind what I just read. Now, he sent Nathan to go talk to David in chapter 7 of 2 Samuel. I'm picking it up in verse 4. And it came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus said the Lord, shall thou build me a house for me to dwell in, whereas I have not dwelled in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle, in all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye me a house of cedar? Now here we go. 8. Now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord, I took thee from a sheepcote, from following sheep, to be ruler over my people Israel. That's what I just read over here in verse 2, from Micah 5 and 2. But thou, Bethlehem Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee he shall come forth unto me that shall be ruler in Israel. David all day long. Can't get around. Okay. Any questions or comments about anything before we go?
Yes. Okay, so it speaks about how they're raising up prophets. So only the men are going to be raised up.
Oh no! He says that's sons and daughters.
Oh, okay.
Sons and daughters. But this where the trick coming in at. When the Most High raise all them up, they ain't going to heaven, is it? Where we gonna rule it? Where we gonna do that? We gonna rule on earth, right?
Right.
Huh? Yeah.
Right. Yes.
That's where the trick coming in at. Like I said, we dealing with all these off-brand teachers and Gentiles that's been trying to teach Hebrew, trying to get a Hebrew understanding when they don't have it. Mm-hmm. Nowhere he says anything about he gonna raise us up and we going to heaven.
Right.
We gonna be on the earth.
Yeah, but I think they're getting tricked off by that New Testament with them.
Right. That's what it is. That's what it is. All the lies they got in there. Yeah. That's what that is. Anybody else?
So should we wait to leave to back to Africa, or should we stay put in? Because didn't God like lead Israel back to the homeland like multiple times? Or
yeah, he led them. It's like I was saying before, when you look at you mean it's nothing when you understand how everything worked in the past, it's nothing that's happening right now that's new under the sun. Let me give you an example right quick of what you just asked me. I'm in Nehemiah. All right. So he raised in Ezra, he said that Cyrus came out and made the commandment from Daniel 9:25 and said that your Lord, your God, and gave me all the kingdoms of the earth. Now, anybody that want to go back to Jerusalem, you can go back. And then it says, and the ones who God put on their mind, he raised their spirit. Them the ones got to moving around. Them the ones that was ready to go. So okay. I'm in Nehemiah chapter 2.
All right, I'm there.
Okay, they in the Persian Empire. And this Nehemiah, he says, and it came to pass it came to pass in the month of Nisan in the 20th year of Aar's king, that wine was before him, and Nehemiah is his wine barrel. And I took up the wine and I gave it unto the king. Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, why is thy countenance sad? seeing thou art not sick. This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then was I so afraid, and I said unto the king, let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad when the city, the place of my father's sepulchres, lie waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire? Then the king said unto me, for what doest thou make a request? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou would have send me to Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. And we ain't doing no different than today, right? He putting the spirit on us, so we ready to go. We trying to find a way out of here. They ain't doing no different than then.
Yes, sir.
It's some gonna through the spirit of the Most High gonna go there on their own, but it's some the majority of them is gonna come all at once. But we see right here, people was already going, like with Ezekiel. Ezekiel was already in Babylon when Nebuchadnezzar came and got those that remnant and took them to Babylon. Ezekiel was already there. So when it got ready to come out, same thing happened. He put it on a lot of mind, and they spirit told them to start getting prepared to go back. They was waiting, anticipating on it. Their whole being was anticipating on leaving. Same thing happening now. It ain't nothing new under the sun.
Yes,
So,
sir.
like you said, it ain't for everybody. It's just the ones whose spirit he raised.
Okay. Just wanted to double check.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. Let me play this line. Then I'm gonna see y'all on Monday. I'm thinking it's probably gonna be we're probably gonna be on there at 9 o'clock. I'm gonna post it because I got something going on. I gotta deal with it, so it might be later. But just I'm gonna put it on the when I post the link. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say shalom to everybody.
Shalom.
See y'all